a man accidentally picked up a phone, and to his surprise, it automatically unlocked. Not only that, but inside the phone was a billionaire. This billionaire asked the man to come to his company to become the CEO. The billionaire's name was Kim Seon-ju, chairman of a leading technology company. The VR technology they were developing was almost indistinguishable from reality. After Chairman Kim returned to the office, using a voice assistant proficiently, he told his secretary that it seemed the profession of being a secretary wouldn't last much longer. When the secretary believed it was true, the chairman said, "I'm just kidding." Our protagonist, at that moment, was playing with a group of children. A little girl wanted to take a picture with him. As she approached, people noticed an unpleasant smell and immediately covered their noses, telling their mother, "This Snow White smells like armpit odor." The mother came closer and grimaced because she couldn't stand it. As expected, he was sure to get scolded by his boss. The man's name was Park In-seong, a man nearing 30, without a stable job, only able to do some temporary work daily. That day, he went to a big company for an interview. He was so nervous that he forgot his own name when he suddenly got a call from his mother. So, he quickly ran out of the waiting room. His mother asked him if he had forgotten to drink seaweed soup, as not doing so on such an important day would bring bad luck. While In-seong was complaining that his mother was too superstitious, he noticed an extremely beautiful girl in front of him. At that moment, he was smitten. After a while, In-seong regained his composure and asked what he should do. The girl directly led him to the restroom, then started taking off her shirt and asked In-seong to do the same. But she only wanted to exchange shirts with him. When In-seong asked how to return it to her, he peeked out and found that the girl had already left a long time ago. After that, In-seong nervously sat in front of the interviewer. The interviewer asked if he was too nervous. In-seong said, "You are a big company, of course. I am a bit pressured." The interviewer then told In-seong that he had no qualifications, no certificates, and no experience. It could be said that he had nothing, but people still need a chance to work and accumulate experience. However, the shirt was too small, and its buttons popped open. The button flew straight into the interviewer's mouth. Unsurprisingly, In-seong did not pass the interview. But this wasn't the worst of it. Because In-seong didn't have a job, the landlord didn't want to rent to him anymore. That evening, In-seong sat on the bus, looking at rental information on his phone with a pensive expression. On the opposite bus, the person sitting there was Se-yeon, the woman he met that morning. Although she was the secretary of the boss of the company where In-seong interviewed, her life was also not smooth because she had to care for her mother, who was bedridden in a vegetative state. Se-yeon was in debt with a huge amount of 50 million won. On the other hand, In-seong was drinking with his friend, discussing today's interview. He had neither a job nor a place to stay. His friend advised In-seong to live with him, but In-seong considered returning to his hometown. After taking care of her mother, Se-yeon left the hospital and encountered the loan shark who had been waiting outside for a long time. Since Se-yeon had no money, Ma-pai could only take her to a bar to meet the madam. However, when Se-yeon entered the room, the madam bluntly told Ma-pai that she wasn't suitable. If she worked there, it would surely cause big trouble. The next day, In-seong fulfilled his promise and returned to rural life. He brought his parents the latest product from Chairman Kim's company. Chairman Kim Seon-ju's AI smart speaker had attracted worldwide attention because his artificial intelligence revolution threatened the business of a major player. That evening, as Chairman Kim drove home alone, he unfortunately had a collision. When he regained consciousness, he had turned into a phone, with only 15% battery remaining. At that moment, Chairman Kim could only send his location online, hoping someone would see it and come to his rescue. But many social media users thought it was a joke and left comments praising the clever idea. Until the next day, when In-seong arrived in the countryside. While walking, he suddenly felt something was wrong and stopped. It turned out there was a snake at his feet. He was bitten by the snake, and after frantically jumping around, he sat down and leaned against a rock. While regretting not being filial to his parents, the phone beside him suddenly emitted the voice of a man. 1 second before the battery died, the phone called for an ambulance. When the man regained consciousness, he found himself in a hospital bed. He asked if the snake was venomous. The doctor said he had just fainted from fright and could be discharged after the infusion. After being discharged, the man charged the phone, and it suddenly unlocked by itself. "Hello, I am the chairman of Silver Lining, named Kim Seon-ju." The man said, "If you are the chairman, then I must be Steve Jobs." Seeing that the man didn't believe him, Chairman Kim randomly showed the balance in a bank account and asked him to enter his account number to transfer 100 million won. The man thought to himself that his card didn't have much money anyway, so he agreed immediately. Unexpectedly, his phone instantly received a message notifying him that his account had been credited with 100 million won. The man was shocked. Chairman Kim asked the man to do him a favor by going to the company and acting as the chairman in his place. But In Seong felt it was a joke. To check if the money was real or fake, In Seong took out his phone and selected a pair of headphones he had wanted for a long time. Surprisingly, he successfully placed the order immediately. He excitedly ran outside and finally had an epiphany. When life gives you lemon, you gotta make some lemonade, so he took the opportunity to become the chairman. Later, In Seong told his parents that he was about to work at a big company. His mother hugged him tightly, moved to tears. On the other side, a man was shining a flashlight, searching for something. The next day before leaving, In Seong transferred 50 million won to his father. Seeing this large amount of money, his father suddenly felt scared. His mother asked where the money came from. In Seong could only lie that it was a returned house deposit. Upon returning to the city, the first thing In Seong did was visit the mall to buy new clothes, then enjoy a relaxing soak in the bathtub, followed by a lavish meal. The next day, In Seong drove a luxury car to the company. As he arrived in the lobby, he was greeted by a line of staff members. To his surprise, the person welcoming him was the same interviewer who had previously rejected him, and Se-yeon, the girl he had bumped into before. In Seong was thrilled to see Se-yeon again, but she remained cold and indifferent towards him. Se-yeon then led him to his office. Standing at the door, In Seong couldn't help but burst into laughter. His dream of becoming a CEO had finally come true. The interviewer later approached In Seong to apologize, pointing to his balding head and joking about his failure to recognize a great opportunity. He even offered In Seong a new secretary. In Seong sternly warned him that as long as he worked there, his personal secretary, Se-yeon, was not to be replaced. In Seong was unaware that his beautiful secretary had taken a high-interest loan from Mafia, who even came to the company looking for her. This debt was a bottomless pit that Se-yeon could never fully repay. Meanwhile, a high-ranking official reported to his boss. Hearing that the new general manager was an inexperienced young man, the boss laughed smugly. In his office, In Seong still couldn't believe it was all real. He checked his phone and saw it was already 6 p.m. As soon as work hours ended, the general manager also left for the day. In Seong drove the luxury car to Chairman Kim's mansion. Suddenly, a car sped past. Chairman Kim instructed him to chase it. The driver was their neighborhood's butler, Sim. Chairman Kim told In Seong to quickly go home and retrieve a file bag. As he reached the door, the lights suddenly came on, scaring In Seong into running around in circles. Chairman Kim instructed him to enter through the side door. "Weren't you supposed to make me chairman? How did I end up as a master thief?" Sneaking upstairs, In Seong finally reached the office after much effort. But when he opened the safe, he found it empty. The housekeeper, sensing something odd, slowly approached the office. However, she found nothing when she opened the door. After they left, In Seong breathed a sigh of relief. When he checked his phone, he saw a message stating the phone belonged to him. In Seong asked if the person on the phone was really Chairman Kim. Kim Seon-ju confidently confirmed and said if there was another Chairman Kim, he wouldn't sit by and watch the company fall into the wrong hands. Moreover, the message sender might be testing In Seong. Back home, Chairman Kim helped In Seong with his work, while In Seong relaxed in a bath. Later, In Seong asked if Chairman Kim could track an unidentified number, but Chairman Kim said his computer was too old. He then suggested In Seong stay at his house. Hotels might be bugged, but this place is not fit for human living. Are you sending me to stay at Chairman Kim's house? It's like a palace. In Seong then thought of his father tipping the driver and his mother happily firing the housekeeper. The family lived a blissful life like in paradise. But the doorbell brought him back to reality. It was his best friend. They went to the night market for a snack. Meanwhile, Se-yeon was drinking alone, reminiscing about her conversation with butler Sim. Sim asked if she knew where Chairman Kim had gone, but Se-yeon said she didn't know anything. In Seong returned late to his room, and Chairman Kim scolded him for being late. In Seong explained his friends kept forcing him to drink. During the contract period, no private meetings with others. While In Seong was out, Chairman Kim had told butler Sim and the housekeeper that he would stay at the mansion. The current problem was his daughter, Min-A, who was very sensitive to strangers and had difficulty opening up to others. In Seong dressed as Snow White, and Min-A chased him with a fishing net. When she finally caught up, she said In Seong was special. Other friends of her father just gave her pocket money, but In Song was the first to play with her. The housekeeper then took In Seong to Chairman Kim's office. When she left, she kept looking back and then made a phone call. Meanwhile, Se-yeon received a message. On TV, a baseball player selection show was airing. A woman sitting in the boss's chair asked Se-yeon to choose someone. Se-yeon said she didn't know much about baseball. The woman replied that it didn't matter who was chosen. What mattered was who made the choice. She then asked Se-yeon who she would choose between Chairman Kim and In Song. Not long ago, In Seong was considering using 1 billion won to buy a house in Seoul. But Chairman Kim told him 1 billion wasn't enough. If you want to get that 10 billion won, you need to quickly find out who sent that message. Chairman Kim suggested they could trace the phone number. Today was a good opportunity. At the company, each phone had a name tag and was placed in a box. After everyone submitted their phones, In Seong explained. Recently, many people have been using phones to record. I hope everyone understands due to trade secrets. The meeting then began. In Seong looked around and called the number that had sent the message. One phone rang, but when In Song checked, it had no name tag. Se-yeon noticed In Seong searching for the phone. The vice chairman then entered, and In Seong quickly greeted him. I'm the chairman of Silver Lining, Park In Seong. I'm Oh Young-gyun. The vice chairman dismissed everyone, inviting them for a hot tea break. As they left, they each took their phones. In Seong recounted everything to Chairman Kim, who realized the phone must have been nameless from the start. The vice chairman's timely entrance was likely a rescue mission. Facing such a formidable foe, In Seong began to feel afraid. He couldn't always wear earphones, so Chairman Kim couldn't assist him all the time. At that moment, Se-yeon told In Seong that the vice chairman was looking for him. After In Seong left, Se-yeon paused, tore off a paper with her name on it, and threw it into the trash. On the way home, Se-yeon noticed that In Seong was always using his phone to report work to someone. She kept a close watch on his actions. Suddenly, In Seong's phone rang, and he quickly answered it, then turned it off and put it away. Se-yeon asked if he had 2 phones, noting that he always wore wireless earphones, seemingly reporting to someone. Without waiting for an answer, Se-yeon floored the gas pedal, making the car speed down the road. After stopping, Se-yeon asked In Seong if he had captured Chairman Kim. Seeing In Seong's reluctance, Se-yeon showed him a phone case she had taken from his bag, matching the one on his phone. At that moment, Chairman Kim's phone automatically unlocked and called Se-yeon. Just then, a car sped towards them. In Seong finally revealed the truth, but Se-yeon was still skeptical about Chairman Kim being trapped in a phone. Where is he then? She asked. In the CPU cores, In Seong replied. Though astonished, Se-yeon had no choice but to believe it. The next day, she picked In Seong up for work. He handed her an earpiece to communicate with Chairman Kim, saying they were now a team. Seeing her struggle to put it on, In Seong helped her, captivated by her beautiful profile. On the way, Se-yeon asked how long In Seong had known Chairman Kim. In Seong jokingly said it was like a TV drama, Cinderella meeting her prince. But Chairman Kim noted Se-yeon seemed unreliable, as he couldn't remember what happened before and after their encounter. Couldn't someone else have been with him that day? Se-yeon explained that after leaving Chairman Kim, she received a message from the hospital about her mother's deteriorating health. Rushing there, she found her mother stable, but didn't notice someone watching her from outside. At the company, to prove her innocence, Se-yeon handed her phone to In Seong for inspection. After confirming there were no issues, Chairman Kim asked what had happened on the day of his incident. Se-yeon admitted that Senior Officer Quac had tried to connect with her, seemingly attempting to create a rift between her and Chairman Kim. Despite his thinning hair, Chairman Kim knew the official had great ambition. With a clear target, the duo confidently approached the company, ready to inspect Senior Officer Quac's phone, computer, and memory cards. In Seong played his part, while Se-yeon secretly checked the official's phone. Unexpectedly, the phone rang. Disguised as a janitor, In Seong planned to enter the official's office, but was recognized by some cleaning ladies. Next, they targeted his small car, but accidentally triggered the alarm. Se-yeon, run! A day passed without results, so they devised a bolder plan, crashing into the official's car. When he got out to argue, he was met by the chairman and his secretary. Awkwardly smiling, he said it was fine. While they talked, Se-yeon reversed the car. If they hadn't dodged in time, they might have ended up with Chairman Kim. After getting out, Se-yeon repeatedly apologized, saying she meant to drive forward. In Seong then suggested the official take a taxi with him, leaving the car to Se-yeon. Reluctantly, the official handed over his keys. Once they left, Se-yeon retrieved the dashcam's memory card and checked it on her phone. The vice chairman had invited numerous reporters without In-song's knowledge. Despite smiling brightly, he felt extremely anxious. Wearing his earpiece, Chairman Kim reminded him, "All these reporters are close to the vice chairman. If In-seong failed to answer a question, his nervous image would be broadcast nationwide." The press conference began, and the first question was quickly posed. How did a university student under 30 become chairman? In-seong, guided by Chairman Kim, responded fluently, redirecting the focus onto the vice chairman, who only had a high school diploma. He emphasized that regardless of age or education, anyone capable could lead a company. Noticing something unusual about In-seong's earpiece, the vice chairman approached and removed it, under the pretense of questioning why the chairman of Silver Lining was using a competitor's product. A reporter then asked about AI advancements potentially causing job losses and rumors of AI becoming uncontrollable. "I'll be back." Not long ago, In-seong asked Chairman Kim why the company was named Silver Lining. Chairman Kim countered with, "Have you seen Terminator?" Inspired, In-seong began rambling seriously, unexpectedly electrifying the audience. At this moment, In-seong became the center of attention. Meanwhile, Se-yeon watched the dashcam footage, completely clueless about Chairman Kim's meeting with Executive Quac. Chairman Kim later praised In-seong's performance. Just then, his other phone rang. When In-seong turned around, he saw it was Director O calling. Upon meeting, Director O revealed that she had the same habit as In-seong, collecting everyone's phones for confidentiality during conversations. In-seong handed his phone to her secretary. Director O continued, pointing out the similarities in how In-seong and Chairman Kim spoke. Although unaware of any agreement between them, she advised In-seong not to trust Chairman Kim too much, as he had broken an agreement with her before. After returning home, Se-yeon informed Chairman Kim about the dashcam recording of his meeting with Executive Quac. A nervous Chairman Kim claimed no recollection of it. The next day, using the dashcam footage from Executive Quac's car, Se-yeon deduced a location and arrived at a deserted wasteland. Suddenly, a black car sped towards her, and inside was Director O. Director O assumed In-seong had sent someone to investigate her and reminded Se-yeon that In-seong possessed Chairman Kim's phone, implying a need for restraint. As Se-yeon drove away, Director O and the vice chairman reminisced about the past. The vice chairman remarked that Director EU wouldn't be suitable as chairman because the company would have to adopt her husband's surname upon their marriage. That day, In-seong accidentally dropped the phone in the toilet. He quickly fished it out and performed emergency CPR, but to no avail. In-seong had no choice but to take the phone to a repair shop, imagining it being prepped for surgery on an operating table. He told Se-yeon about the chairman falling into the toilet. As they discussed the phone repair, a man rushed towards them. Se-yeon recognized him as Ma-pai, the loan shark she owed 50 million won to. She pleaded with him, arguing that her death would be a greater loss for him. Just as Ma-pai was about to lay his hands on her, In-seong intervened, promising to repay the debt. Ma-pai looked at Se-yeon and remarked to In-seong about playing the hero. He handed them his card, giving them an additional 2 days. Back at the company, Se-yeon questioned In-seong's reason for helping her. In-seong replied that Chairman Kim praised her as an excellent and discreet employee, which led to her becoming the youngest general secretary. He also mentioned her kindness and warmth. His words unlocked Se-yeon's bottled-up emotions, causing her to break down in tears by her mother's hospital bed. That night, In-seong had a nightmare about the company's downfall under his incompetent leadership, forcing numerous employees out of work. He was awakened by his father's call, and from then on, he dedicated himself to becoming a true chairman. Meanwhile, the vice chairman received news that Chairman Kim's phone was found, being repaired by In-seong. Fortunately, the phone was fixed the next day. Upon returning to the company, In-seong brought the revived Chairman Kim out, and they began working. Reviewing the dashcam footage, Chairman Kim discovered a suspicious car tailing him. They needed to find that car. In-seong's investigation revealed the car was using fake plates, unregistered in the system. Chairman Kim decided to revisit the scene of that day's incident. They parked at the foot of the mountain and hiked to the peak. Darkness fell by the time they reached the location where In-seong had picked up Chairman Kim's phone. Just then, 2 figures appeared in the distance. In-seong quickly pulled Se-yeon aside to hide. Upon closer inspection, they realized it was In-seong's parents. Back home, In-seong lied, saying they just passed by and decided to stop by for a visit. In Seong's parents welcomed Se-yeon with open arms. The whole family happily gathered around a meal of bibimbap. His mother would playfully scold In Seong from time to time, reminding Se-yeon of her own mother. It brought back fond memories of sharing meals with her mother when she was still healthy. Overwhelmed with nostalgia, Se-yeon couldn't hold back her tears. After dinner, the two drove off. Watching them leave, In Seong's parents already planned for their son's marriage. On their way back, they noticed a car tailing them, the same car with license plate 4885 they were searching for. In Seong steered into a rest area, followed closely by the suspicious vehicle. They got out to investigate, finding the car empty. Suddenly, a man emerged, team leader Nam from the conglomerate's business division, the same person who had given In Seong a hard time on his first day. Several men in black approached. In Seong urged Se-yeon back into the car and prayed for the best, but they were outnumbered. In Seong was brutally beaten. Just as they were being dragged away, another car screeched to a halt. In Seong ran towards it, desperate for help, only to find Ma Pai inside. Seeing this, the attackers turned their aggression towards Ma Pai, vandalizing his car. This enraged Ma Pai, who took down the nearest assailant with a single blow. The thugs were no match for him. Within moments, they were all lying on the ground. Team leader Nam lunged at Ma Pai with a switchblade, but ended up with the blade buried in his own chest. From behind, In Seong struck team leader Nam with a wooden plank. Seeing Se-yeon drive up, Ma Pai shoved team leader Nam towards her, then proceeded to tie him up and demand answers. Team leader Nam revealed Chairman Kim as the mastermind. Hearing Chairman Kim's name sent In Seong reeling, but Chairman Kim said he was lying. A knock on the door interrupted their conversation. On the other side, influential figures gathered, luxury cars lining up outside the hospital. Chairwoman Ji of Fanrong Group had passed away, released from custody. In Seong and Se-yeon saw the news and rushed out of the police station. Chairman Kim tasked Se-yeon with retrieving team leader Nam's personnel file while he attended the funeral. Although unsure who was behind team leader Nam, In Seong knew they would pressure the police for his release. Remembering a favor owed, he asked his friend to keep an eye on team leader Nam. At the funeral, Director O approached In Seong, inquiring about Borough 4.0, something In Seong knew nothing about. When he questioned Chairman Kim, the response was cryptic. "It's better you don't know." A sense of unease washed over In Seong. He called his mother, confessing that even though he had already gotten so far on the current path, he felt so lost somehow. After the call, a newfound resolve filled him as he returned to the car. His friend called, reporting team leader Nam's movements on the subway. In Seong immediately gave chase. Chairman Kim relayed that team leader Nam's phone signal still pinged at the station. In Seong scanned the area and spotted him, continuing the pursuit. Reaching the subway doors, team leader Nam collided with a woman. She screamed, her baby stroller rolling away with the impact. In Seong couldn't stand idly by. He leaped forward, narrowly catching the stroller. By the time he emerged from the station, team leader Nam had vanished, leaving only his phone behind. Chairman Kim was furious, but In Seong argued he had no choice and would do the same again. Chairman Kim admitted he never regretted his decisions and didn't want In Seong to be his first. As for the elusive Borough 4.0, it was a self-driving car system. Meanwhile, Se-yeon arrived at In Seong's house with team leader Nam's file. As she examined the documents, In Seong appeared behind her. The next day at the company, In Seong told Chairman Kim they needed a bodyguard who was not only good at fighting, but well-rounded. As the elevator doors opened, Ma Pai, in a display of his prowess, had someone pinned down. In Seong, with a satisfied grin, led him into his office. He proposed the bodyguard position to Ma Pai, but Se-yeon interjected, calling Ma Pai a loose cannon who couldn't differentiate between good and bad. In Seong argued that Ma Pai had at least proven he wasn't on the enemy's side by roughing up team leader Nam. After some negotiation, Ma Pai signed a contract with a salary 4 times his initial offer. Their first stop was team leader Nam's address. After numerous unanswered rings, Ma Pai's patience wore thin. He made his way downstairs and began scaling the building. In Seong rushed up to find they had the wrong place. Their next lead led them to a shady shop selling burner phones. The owner, sizing them up, asked how much they could pay. Se-yeon explained they only needed a number traced. Unimpressed, the owner turned them away. However, Ma Pai's entrance changed the owner's tune entirely. The trace number, unfortunately, hadn't been activated at their shop. They tried Team Leader Nam's old school next, but privacy policies thwarted their efforts. Undeterred, Mafia, in a moment of unexpected professionalism, went straight for the records room. But even there, Team Leader Nam's information was nowhere to be found. It seemed his address, contact details, even his education history were all fabricated. Meanwhile, Team Leader Nam had found comfortable accommodation, leaving In Seong and Se-yeon back at the company, baffled. Little did In Seong know, trouble was about to come knocking in the form of his visiting parents. Panic seized him. He turned to Se-yeon, adamant that they couldn't tell his parents about finding the phone, Chairman Kim's predicament, or his newfound leadership role. My father will think I've lost it and take me to the madhouse. As the elevator doors opened, In Seong froze. His father questioned his presence in the chairman's office. Se-yeon smoothly intervened, clarifying that she was In Seong's superior. In Seong's parents, surprisingly understanding, apologized for the intrusion. In Seong led them on an office tour, carefully concealing nameplates. His father asked him what he was doing, but Se-yeon offered them some tea to quickly distract. In Seong's mother mentioned they had only planned to leave as soon as they dropped off apples. Just then, Executive Quac arrived. In Seong ushered him out, offering the apples as a gift. My family hasn't been around in 8 years, Executive Quac remarked, to which In Seong quipped, "Give them to the vice chairman then." Finally, his parents left, his mother discreetly slipping him some cash. On the bus ride home, In Seong's father, who had spent his whole life in the farm, overcome with pride at his son's supposed success, couldn't hold back tears. Executive Quac, true to his word, presented the apples to the vice chairman, claiming they were a heartfelt gift from In Seong. The vice chairman chuckled, assuming it was more than just fruit. But when he opened the box, there were only apples that he found. That evening, In Seong and Se-yeon discussed Team Leader Nam, unaware of a lurking presence listening in. The next day, Chairman Kim's family invited them on a camping trip. It was his daughter's birthday, and while everyone else celebrated, Mafia sat alone while slurping down instant noodles. Late that night, after putting Chairman Kim's daughter to bed, Se-yeon received a call regarding her mother's VIP hospital room service, which will end next month. Seeking solace, she headed to the beach. Upon her return, she found a contemplative In Seong. As they talked, In Seong inquired about her dreams, to which she confessed that reality had forced her to abandon them. She excused herself to use the restroom, leaving her earphones behind. In Seong, beer in hand, was on a call with Chairman Kim when his daughter woke up. She reached for Se-yeon's earphones. A familiar voice, her father's, filling her ears. She called out for her father, tears streaming down her face. Se-yeon rushed to comfort her. In Seong, his voice thick with emotion, spoke to Chairman Kim. Now we have another reason to catch the real culprit. After the camping trip, their investigation into Team Leader Nam continued. Surveillance footage showed him always coming and going alone. It was then In Seong remembered the company's many clubs. A quick search by Chairman Kim revealed Team Leader Nam's membership in the hiking club, the only trace of himself he'd left behind. As they prepared to investigate, Executive Quac appeared, whisking In Seong away to attend the opening ceremony of Fanrong Group's new sports complex, leaving Se-yeon to continue digging. The hiking club leader revealed Team Leader Nam was an enigma, keeping to himself and never participating in activities. At the ceremony, Director O announced the imminent launch of their driverless car. News to In Seong. Director O brushed it off, assuring him all he had to do was play his part. Meanwhile, the vice chairman, watching from the sidelines, was surprised by Chairman Kim's absence, questioning how they could launch Baro 4.0 without him. Back at the office, Se-yeon meticulously mapped out the dates of Team Leader Nam's hiking trips. It dawned on Chairman Kim that these dates coincided with the review sessions for Baro 4.0. Se-yeon deduced that Team Leader Nam used those hikes to leak information, and Executive Quac was present on all those dates as well. Determined to get answers, In Seong invited Executive Quac for a casual noodle lunch, slyly probing about Team Leader Nam's whereabouts. Quac, tight-lipped, offered no information, leaving In Seong empty-handed. Mafia suggested a more forceful approach, but Se-yeon feared it would backfire. Later at a restaurant, In Seong attempted to mediate between Mafia and Se-yeon, but the animosity between them ran deep. Se-yeon found Mafia utterly clueless, while Mafia remained wary. In Seong could only watch in exasperation as they stormed off separately. He lamented to Chairman Kim about the tricky dynamic, but Chairman Kim, ever the pragmatist, declared it In Seong's personal problem. As their food arrived, In Seong called his friend to join them. His paycheck had landed, the large sum momentarily dazzling him. Se-yeon received hers too, a combined total exceeding 700 million won. But with hospital bills and her mother's caretaker to pay, she sought a raise. A sigh escaped her lips as she realized that after expenses, only 200,000 won remained from the hefty sum. In Seong, ever thoughtful, brought watermelon to the hospital. Meanwhile, with Fanrong's self-driving car launch driving up stock prices, the vice chairman worried about his niece, Director O, securing the chairman position. He decided a meeting with Chairman In Seong was in order. Meanwhile, In Seong, enjoying a shopping spree with his friend, stumbled upon a display of white shirts, a wave of inspiration washing over him. He purchased one immediately, intending it for Se-yeon. Back at Chairman Kim's villa, as Ma-pai prepared to leave, In Seong stopped him, finally asking his name. The housekeeper interjected, revealing Ma-pai's past as a mob enforcer. Chairman Kim's daughter, drawn to Ma-pai, approached him, only to be ushered away by the housekeeper who warned her against playing with dangerous people. The next day, In Seong presented Se-yeon with the shirt. Upon returning, he invited Ma-pai inside, but Ma-pai refused, choosing to stay in the car. In Seong, undeterred, left the gifts he'd bought for Ma-pai. This small gesture warmed Ma-pai's heart. He had also bought gifts for his parents, a floral dress for his mother, beef, and a pair of AR glasses for his father, allowing him to watch his favorite singer perform live. In Seong's father, beaming, proudly showed off his gifts to everyone in the village. Suddenly, In Seong's phone rang. It was Chairman Kim, revealing a plan to expose Executive Quac, inspired by In Seong's earlier actions. The plan started with In Seong inviting Quac for a meal. Quac suggested a simple coffee as a thank you, but In Seong insisted on a fancy high-rise restaurant. As they reached the elevators, a conveniently timed maintenance sign greeted them. In Seong, feigning disappointment, suggested a calorie-burning climb up the stairs instead. Quac, left with no other option, reluctantly agreed. The out-of-shape Quac struggled his way up 36 floors, only to be greeted at the top by Se-yeon, who informed him that the coffee was for another time. Fuming, Quac descended, arriving back at the lobby breathless and exhausted. Once in the car, he drifted off to sleep. He woke to find himself alone, except for the driver. Initially assuming it was Se-yeon, his blood ran cold when he realized it was Chairman Kim behind the wheel. Panic and disbelief washed over him. "Why are you doing this to me?" he stammered. "I'm just following orders." Chairman Kim replied cryptically. Quac finally connected the dots. It was the glasses. In Seong got into the car, pulling out a recording device, and demanded to know who was behind it all. Quac, as always, denied everything. Unfazed, In Seong reminded him about the tailing incident and hinted at an uncertain fate if Quac didn't cooperate. In his office, Chairman Kim reassured In Seong that Executive Quac would crack and reach out to him. Just then, In Seong's phone rang. It wasn't Quac, but the vice chairman summoning him. At the meeting, the vice chairman delivered an ultimatum. Choose a side, him or Director O. In Seong refused to be strong-armed, declaring his intent to remain neutral. The vice chairman, clearly displeased, warned In Seong that his safety could no longer be guaranteed. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Executive Quac was met with the chilling sight of a brutalized team leader Nam. The message was clear: he could be next. After leaving the hospital, In Seong received a call from Chief Quac, who wanted to meet and give him something related to the truth. However, upon arriving at the location, In Seong found Chief Quac dead in his car, seemingly from suicide by smoke inhalation. Despite the circumstances, In Seong was immediately arrested as a suspect. He tried to convince the police that it wasn't suicide, pointing out inconsistencies in the scene, but they remained unconvinced, linking the case to the disappearance of another team leader and former chairman Kim Seon-ju. Luckily, Fanrong's lawyer arrived and bailed In Seong out. The vice chairman who arranged the bail warned In Seong to choose his side carefully, implying that he was merely protecting the company's image. Meanwhile, Chairman Kim, trapped in his phone, grew suspicious, believing the suicide to be a setup. Fearful for himself and his loved ones, In Seong visited Chief Quac's office and found a picture. Simultaneously, Se-yeon received a USB drive from Chief O, who used her mother's well-being as leverage. Seeking solace, In Seong returned to his hometown, and, under the influence of alcohol, revealed to his mother about Chairman Kim's spirit residing in the phone and wanting him to take over. Meanwhile, Chairman Kim's daughter, Min Ah, noticed In Seong's absence and felt deceived. Ma Pai, considering quitting, gave Se-yeon his car keys. Despite the situation, In Seong attended Min Ah's sports day with Se-yeon, and even Ma Pai showed a softer side towards the child. Touched by In Seong's return, Chairman Kim increased the contract value. However, In Seong clarified his motivation was no longer solely monetary. Back in the company, he investigated Chief Quac's death with Chairman Kim. They realized the call In Seong received after Chief Quac's might be someone confirming his contact. Their investigation led them to a public phone booth and a nearby exhibition, triggering In Seong's memory of the voice on the other end. Reviewing the security footage, he identified the person as Secretary No, the vice chairman's driver. A flashback revealed Chief Quac finding another missing employee mistreated and confronting Secretary No, who warned him about questioning his actions. Feeling threatened, Chief Quac contacted In Seong, unaware that Secretary No was watching. He later silenced Chief Quac after identifying In Seong as the contact. In Seong tracked down Secretary No and confronted him with evidence. A chase ensued, ending with Secretary No pulling a gun on In Seong and stealing his phone, which held Chairman Kim's spirit. Secretary No then took the phone to be hacked, aiming to access Chairman Kim's data. In Seong, reflecting on his role as acting chairman, felt the weight of responsibility and the difficult decisions that came with it. I'll help you too. At the repair shop, Secretary No was about to report their failure to unlock Chairman Kim's phone when the vice chairman texted him. This raised In Seong and Se-yeon's suspicion. Se-yeon snatched Ma Pai's phone, only to find him talking to Chairman Kim's daughter. Embarrassed, Ma Pai left. In Seong cooked a bland dinner as an apology to Ma Pai, who remained indifferent. Curiosity about Ma Pai's wealth only made him clam up further. Meanwhile, Secretary No, while using Chairman Kim's phone, discovered the secret files handed to the vice chairman. The next day, In Seong barged into a high-level meeting at Fanrong, accusing someone present of killing Chief Quac and framing him. The room was locked, trapping everyone inside in order for Se-yeon and Ma Pai to search for the evidence. But the vice chairman had already left the meeting room. To buy time, In Seong triggered the sprinkler system, allowing him and Se-yeon to steal the files while everyone was distracted. The files contained a report on Barrow 4, Zero's flaws. Secretary No, receiving a call, left for a psychiatric hospital, where he visited both team leader Nam and another patient. Following clues, In Seong found Chairman Kim's location, but they were a step behind and the hospital was locked down. They watched helplessly as an ambulance carrying Chairman Kim drove away. They chased the ambulance, only to find it empty, the phone planted as a decoy. Secretary No had moved Chairman Kim to a different ambulance after realizing that there was something wrong with the phone. While In Seong confronted the vice chairman, Se-yeon and Ma Pai returned to the hospital. Ma Pai created a diversion, allowing Se-yeon to steal a staff ID card. Meanwhile, In Seong received a call from his friend, urging him home. To his surprise, a shamanistic ritual was taking place in his yard. His mother, believing him possessed, had hired shamans to exorcise him. After trancing for a while, the shaman, sensing a powerful spirit, collapsed, claiming In Seong wouldn't survive. Then what should I do? In Seong's mother asked. You have to pay for a bigger and stronger amulet. Hearing that, the mother rushed to take out a bunch of money to give them, and Chairman Kim witnessed everything. Meanwhile, the two tricksters were scheming about how to squeeze more money from In Seong's mother. Suddenly, Chairman Kim's voice boomed from the phone. You're nothing but a pair of swindlers. The two jumped back in terror, eyes wide with fear. The shaman stared at the phone in disbelief. Then, the phone suddenly grew hot, burning the shaman's hand. The male trickster stammered, Is that phone really possessed? There's no such thing as ghosts. The shaman retorted, but her voice shook. Unfortunately, there is, making the tricksters flee in terror. Meanwhile, Se-yeon, back at the company, found information on the hospital director. He had been previously indicted for medical malpractice that resulted in the death of a patient. Coincidentally, that patient was Oh Song-yoon's son, the former chairman of Fanrong. Later that evening, after In Seong's mother saw him off, she returned to the courtyard and asked if the tricksters would return her money. The father told her that what they took, they kept. He was furious, as the money was supposed to be for fertilizer. She apologized profusely, but he said she did nothing wrong. The blame lay solely with those who would take advantage of a parent's love. Later, In Seong and Chairman Kim discussed the Barrow 4.0 report, which exposed the project's failure. Chairman Kim didn't deny testing self-driving cars. But the AI's deep learning led to unintended self-awareness. It seemed like the AI had developed emotions, but in developers' eyes, it was a critical error. In Seong questioned why a report wasn't sent to the vice chairman or director O, but Chairman Kim claimed that his memory of that time seemed to be lost. In Seong recalled Director O's warnings about trusting the chairman. Se-yeon found her mother's hospital room empty and contacted Director O, who was reviewing the Baro 4.0 report. Remembering the vice chairman's advice to drop it, she recalled Chairman Kim telling her about the failed test, but she dismissed his concerns about the driverless car launch. Fix it or release a new version. I will fix it ASAP. Director O smashed a glass in anger. The next day, while Se-yeon was copying the Baro 4.0 test version at the company, In-seong and Ma-pai arrived, suspecting the hospital director was connected to Director O, having helped her rise to power. As In-seong turned to leave, Se-yeon revealed that Director O used her mom as a threat to force her to hand over the Baro 4.0. Ma-pai revealed he had placed a tracker on Se-yeon's mother after the previous incident. In-seong met the vice chairman and said that Chairman Kim wanted to submit the Baro 4.0 report to him, fearing a flawed product launch. He gave the report to Secretary Quac, hoping it would reach the vice chairman, but Quac made a copy for Director O. In-seong aimed to expose Director O and see her replaced. "What's your relationship with Kim? Why risk so much for him?" the vice chairman asked. "We're kindred spirits." Se-yeon met Director O without the Baro 4.0 version, revealing In-seong's knowledge of Chairman Kim's body's location. She then mentioned In-seong's meeting with the vice chairman, pushing Director O to act by saying they planned to remove her from Fanrong. Ma-pai took back Se-yeon's mother, and Se-yeon thanked him. Then, In-seong's parents arrived, promised to look after her mother. Se-yeon broke down, finally relieved, and In-seong comforted her. Back home, In-seong was happy, unaware of the looming crisis. An emergency shareholder meeting commenced. The vice chairman proposed a vote to dismiss Director O. In-seong voted in favor, but the motion failed. It turned out, the vice chairman had met with Director O, revealing his disagreement with In-seong's plan. Exposing Fanrong's knowledge of a flawed product would have consequences beyond Director O's removal. Director O, backed by the vice chairman, successfully countered In-seong's dismissal proposal. In a turn of events, In-seong was voted out and fired, while Se-yeon retained her position. Secretary No informed Director O that the vice chairman was arranging travel to the U.S., a clear sign of her impending removal. The next morning, In-seong discovered Chairman Kim's daughter, Min-ah, was missing. The maid mentioned the news of In-seong's dismissal and Chairman Kim's absence, speculating he remarried abroad, leaving Min-ah lonely. In-seong couldn't find Min-ah in her room. Ma-pai searched her usual hangout spots, eventually finding her caught shoplifting at a convenience store. Min-ah naively believed getting arrested would bring her father back, a heartbreaking thought that brought Ma-pai to tears. The vice chairman, impatient for In-seong's next move, decided to strike. Reporters ambushed In-seong, demanding explanation for alleged staff attacks and implicating him in Fanrong's system malfunction. The media relentlessly attacked In-seong, even suggesting he harmed Chairman Kim to usurp his position. In-seong's father rushed out, only to be swarmed by reporters. Se-yeon called, revealing Fanrong's plan to poach Silver Linings engineers and acquire the Baro 4.0 technology, intending to launch it despite potential flaws. They had to be stopped. "Where is Chairman Kim?" Turned out, Ma-pai had been searching for Chairman Kim. He interrogated the hospital director, who remained tight-lipped about Chairman Kim's whereabouts. Ma-pai embarked on a relentless search across hospitals and wards. Meanwhile, unethical bloggers intensified their attacks on In-seong, linking him to Quac's death. Dejected, In-seong stayed home. Min-ah entered, playing a video of a cleaning lady praising In-seong for defending her against bullying. This act of kindness, particularly towards a lower-level employee, earned In-seong the cleaning lady's admiration. Enraged, the vice chairman ordered the video removed. Just then, the CEO arrived, revealing In-seong's proposal for a new AR glasses revenue model. It secured partnerships in 32 countries, boosting profits over 192% and creating jobs for over 400 staff. He declared In-seong more deserving of the chairman position. News of In-seong saving a child at a subway station surfaced, further bolstering public support. Inspired by his actions, people bought Silver Lining shares, advocating for In-seong's reinstatement. Ma-pai's relentless search paid off. He tracked down an old acquaintance at a remote hospital, finally finding Chairman Kim. He swiftly moved Chairman Kim into an ambulance and sped away. In Seong, reinstated as chairman, attended a shareholder meeting while Ma Pai frantically tried contacting him. Unable to get through, Ma Pai called the maid, telling her to direct In Song to the gym, where he had taken Chairman Kim. Secretary No arrived as Ma Pai settled Chairman Kim. Despite putting up a fight against armed assailants, Ma Pai was overpowered. He collapsed, witnessing Chairman Kim being taken away again. Meanwhile, In Seong celebrated his reinstatement with colleagues. Se-yeon received a call about Chairman Kim and rushed out with In Seong. They found Ma Pai clinging to life, clutching an egg pastry. He died shortly after. They learned Ma Pai's real name was Jang Ju-seong. As they prepared to leave, a police officer, who had previously arrested In Seong, approached them. He handed In Song Ma Pai's notebook, hinting that Ma Pai was searching for someone before his death. He revealed similar incidents linked to Fanrong, including Secretary Quac's death, and gave In Seong a file, suggesting a deeper conspiracy. That night, In Seong and Seon Ju discussed Ma Pai's last message about a leak. They decided to set a trap, suspecting the maid who knew about the gym meeting. The next day, Director O confronted In Seong, feigning ignorance about his accusations. She expressed curiosity about being familiar with Chairman Kim, but not In Seong, suggesting he could be the next target. Director O, you seem to understand me well. But I don't understand you, which is why I turn out to be like this. A flustered Director O left. She visited the unconscious Chairman Kim, recalling the night of his accident. Secretary Quac had revealed Chairman Kim's plan to give the Barrow 4.0 report to the vice chairman, prompting Director O to eliminate him. Director O had stopped Secretary No from removing Chairman Kim's oxygen mask, aiming to use him as leverage against In Song. In Seong and Seon-ju, observing the maid, realized their mistake. It was a young mother selling Min-ah's old clothes and toys. The only suspect left was the housekeeper. The vice chairman, upon learning of Ma Pai's death, decided to eliminate all loose ends. In Seong received a call from a friend urging him to watch the news. News of Chairman Kim's death was broadcasted. Director O confronted the vice chairman, who warned her against further schemes, threatening to expose her role in Chairman Kim's disappearance. To save the company, In Seong decided to reveal the truth. He visited Chairman Kim's daughter, allowing her to speak to her father over the phone. Later, In Seong discussed the plan with Seon-ju, unaware that the housekeeper was listening. The housekeeper informed Director O about Barrow 4.0's completion. Director O offered In Seong a deal, Barrow 4.0, in exchange for Chairman Kim. At the press conference, In Seong addressed Chairman Kim's disappearance, stating he was focused on completing Barrow 4.0. The lights dimmed, and Chairman Kim appeared on screen, shocking everyone. After answering questions, Director O appeared, ready to showcase the self-driving car project. As she reached out to shake In Seong's hand, he declared this press conference was just the beginning. Director O proposed a meeting at a secluded villa for the exchange. That night, In Seong informed the police captain about crucial evidence against Director O at the Nam Yang Villa on Saturday. As planned, In Seong and Se-yeon arrived at the villa, followed by the police. However, after the police entered, they were blindfolded and taken to Silver Lining's remote server room. After handing Secretary No the Barrow 4.0 USB, they went to check on Chairman Kim, who was inside a van. While a researcher plugged the USB into the server, Se-yeon got in the driver's seat. Suddenly, Secretary No pulled a gun on In Seong. In Seong urged Seon to drive. In a split second, Seon slammed the van in reverse, crashing into the server. In Seong seized the opportunity and jumped into the passenger seat. They sped away as the Barrow 4.0 server went up in flames, inadvertently affecting Chairman Kim's condition. Driving with Chairman Kim's phone in hand, In Seong recalled previous conversations and the fact that Barrow 4.0 underwent weekly data updates every Monday. It coincided with Chairman Kim's memory loss of the week preceding the accident. Coupled with AI's potential sentience, a chilling realization dawned on In Seong. He shut down the AI. The phone housed not Chairman Kim's consciousness, but Barrow 4.0. It was the result of deep learning and the evolution of AI. In Seong urged the police captain to arrest Director O, but there was insufficient evidence for attempted murder. At the hospital, In Seong confided in his parents about everything. The next day, In Seong reactivated Barrow 4.0. "You're not Chairman Kim," he stated, but a test version he ran before the accident, but he promised to continue being. In Seong, hired by Chairman Kim, to uncover the truth. The vice chairman tried to send Director O to the US,
but was arrested. Secretary No, his subordinate, had turned informant. Director O framed him. Why would Secretary No go down with him? Asked In Seong. She used my mother, the housekeeper's son. Find what was offered to him. You'll find their conflict. The interrogation revealed Secretary No was a loyal soldier from the vice chairman's hometown. Fanrong announced a live broadcast of their self-driving car demonstration. Before handing over Barrow 4.0, Se-yeon had AI Chairman Kim install a program to expose Director O. Earlier, the police captain gave In Seong a transaction record. It showed 5 billion won deposited into Secretary No's account on the day he left the military in 2020. The day Director O approached him, she orchestrated his discharge, turning him into her pawn. The self-driving car was unveiled. As Director O spoke, In Seong publicly questioned its safety, leading to a live test drive. The car drove into the bustling city. At a red light, AI Chairman Kim took control. It jumped the curb, accelerating to 100 kilometers per hour in a blink, weaving through traffic erratically. In Seong explained that this dangerous decision-making was the result of Barrow 4.0's deep learning, choosing efficiency over safety. Meanwhile, Se-yeon sent a mass text message, a link to the footage of Chairman Kim's staged accident, to all smartphone users. Keep him alive until I give the order. The car stopped, surrounded by police. In Seong ordered Director O to surrender. She refused, setting a course for the airport. However, Chairman Kim had anticipated this, changing the destination to the police station. The car stopped, surrounded by reporters. Director O realized the windows displayed a fake reality. As Director O proclaimed her innocence, Chairman Kim was brought out, along with the housekeeper who testified against Director O. The evidence was irrefutable. Director O was arrested for public endangerment and manipulation. With In Seong cleared, the police investigated Fanrong, leaving the disgraced Director O a hated criminal. Facing public outrage and plummeting stocks, Fanrong's collapse was imminent. The vice chairman, devastated by the downfall of his life's work, passed away. Se-yeon revealed to Chairman Kim's daughter that the voice on the phone belonged to an AI, not her real father. Believing its sentience to be a grave error, the AI initiated self-destruction. Devastated, Min Ah ran to In Seong, clutching the phone and begging him not to leave. In a poignant finale, Se-yeon walked towards In Seong amidst a field of flowers. The scene shifted to a beach, where they shared a tender moment. By their side stood AI Chairman Kim, unable to erase itself entirely after hearing his daughter's heartfelt plea. Thank you all for watching. Like and subscribe, and we will meet again with other recaps.